Did you know that in Ghostwire Tokyo, if you go to this cat vendor and just keep talking to them, eventually they'll say, "Meow, got some rare things on sale, stranger." A nice nod to Resident Evil 4's merchant,
Got some rare things on sale, stranger.
who says the exact same iconic line in that game. This actually makes a lot of sense, as Shinji Mikami, who worked on Resident Evil 4, also worked on Ghostwire Tokyo. What's going on, everyone? Hope you all are having a good day as always. Today we'll be looking at even more hidden details in games that you may have missed. Now, there's actually some more in Ghostwire Tokyo, as if you make your way here on the map, it'll take a bit of climbing to get here, but I took a lift up and then parkoured my way all the way up. But once you get here, you'll find these black rimmed glasses, and the description reads, a pair of black glasses that seem to be related to a certain legendary detective. Now, this could just be nothing and just some random pair of glasses, but this most likely is a reference to Detective Joseph. He was in The Evil Within 1, and at one point during the story, Sebastian, the main character, actually had to go grab his glasses for him. And of course, in The Evil Within, he's a detective as well. But if none of that convinces you, Tango Gameworks made both Ghostwire Tokyo and The Evil Within, and they love adding in Evil Within Easter eggs to their recent games. So this, most likely than not, is a nice little Easter egg or a reference to Detective Joseph. Now, there's actually one more Evil Within reference in Ghostwire Tokyo. If you make your way here on the map, there will be this tent with a film camera in it. If you go to pick it up, it says an old school photographic film camera. This model is eerily reminiscent of the one used by a serial killer who made headlines in the US. So similar, in fact, that some believe it to be the one he actually used to photograph his victims, fulfilling his grotesque desire to immortalize their looks of terror. Now, this could just be absolutely nothing and just be a weird camera that they decided to add into the game to make the game a bit more creepy. But more likely than not, this is most likely a reference to the Evil Within 2's villain Stefano, as in that game, he carried around a camera, and every time he would go to kill someone, right as he's about to kill them, he would take a photograph and keep them in slow motion. And of course, like I said of Joseph's glasses, this game was made by Tango Gameworks, who also made the Evil Within series, and they love adding Evil Within Easter eggs and secrets in their other games. So this might be a stretch, but it seems like this film camera just might be a reference to Stefano from the Evil Within 2. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, this next game is a game I recently played for the first time ever, and it actually has some pretty neat hidden details in the game. This, of course, would be Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Now, this first hidden detail takes place on file R-01. Right when you spawn in, if you make your way to the right-hand side of the beach, there's this cat, and if you actually tried to hit it, it is literally like a ninja cat, and it will not be hit at all. It'll constantly do backflips, and it's basically invisible. You'll never be able to kill this cat, which canonically makes this cat the most overpowered enemy in the entire game. Super small little detail, thought it was funny, so I decided to add it in. Now, this next one also takes place in the same exact mission. Now, right after you get through this little building and head outside, there will be some guards that have a hostage. Now, what I did was go around to the right hand side and take out the first two enemies on the ground and then take out the other two up top. But once you do this and you free the hostage, he'll start running away and trying to get out of bounds. But if you can just barely catch up to him and slash him, you'll actually cut off all of his clothes, and one of your buddies will actually start yelling at you.
Right! What are you doing?
Pretty random that they decided to have it so you can cut off the hostage's clothes, but there you go. Now, the next hidden detail for this game takes place on file R-03. Right after you deal with all of the enemies on the street, you'll come across this building, and inside this building will be a cardboard box girl. Now, in any other game, this would just be a coincidence. There will be, nothing really going on with this cardboard girl, but this is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, so of course there has to be something different with this girl. If you walk right up to her and try to slash her any other way, nothing will happen. But if you go into blade mode and you try to slash her, she'll completely change clothes, and even her hairstyle will change. It is so random because this literally has nothing to do with the game at all. It's just a nice little hidden detail that you may have missed. And one more hidden detail in this game that I wanted to show off takes place in VR Mission 5. Now in this VR mission, you have to take a grenade and throw it at all of the different tripods. And basically your goal is to do this as fast as possible. Well, if you decide to take out all of the enemies except for the final wave and wait about 10 to 20 seconds, the tripods will actually make a P to try and taunt you. I don't know why they make a P, I don't even know what it stands for, but I guess that seems to be their way of taunting you, and I guess like laughing at you for being so bad at this mission. Let me know what you think the letter P stands for down below. Now these next two details takes place in Grand Theft Auto 3. I'll be using the OG version, not the definitive version, as I just prefer the OG. So the details are probably going to be the same on both versions, but I just wanted to give a heads up that I'm on the OG version. Now if you go around Liberty City campus and just start walking around, eventually you'll find this dude who's like holding a piece of paper. Well, if you decide to shoot this dude and look what's on this piece of paper, you can see, I guess he just came out of anatomy class, cause the picture on his paper is very, yeah. The second detail takes place in Staunton Island downtown. Now if you're driving around, eventually you'll come across this LED sign that actually shows off some random little details. If you look closely at it, eventually it'll say GTA 3 out now. A nice little fourth wall break they decided to add into the game, but then again, I don't think they really expected many players to just sit here and watch this LED sign, but there you go. And not only that, but it also says www.dmadesign.com. Now if you don't know, DMA Design was originally the name of Rockstar Games before they eventually switched to, of course, Rockstar Games. So they put their little website on this LED sign just for fun, as a sort of like hidden detail, right? Two little details I thought I'd share in today's video. And the last detail in today's video takes place in the original Gears of War. Now if you start up Act 2 and go to the chapter Powder Keg, at the very beginning of the chapter you'll end up at Chap's gas station. And of course if you look up top it'll say Chap. However, if you look to the left and shoot the window and then look back, it instead changes from Chap to Gab, with a little heart underneath the Gab. Now this was actually put here for Lee Perry, who was the lead level designer in the game. Gab is Lee Perry's wife, and so to celebrate their love, they made a neat little hidden detail, or I guess you could call this one an Easter egg, right above Chap's gas station. There's actually a second detail in this game, and it takes place on Act 5 on the chapter Trainwreck. Now basically what you're going to want to do is play the level all the way up until the point where you get to the button, where you got to push a button to get through the door. Once you do that, this giant enemy will spawn in, and essentially this dude's basically like a one-shot, so you gotta be careful and you gotta run past him. If you somehow are able to do this, you can see he destroyed those boxes in the cutscene. And out of those boxes came a certain cereal box that says Gears Crunch. So I guess in the Gears of War universe, their cereal boxes are called Gears Crunch, or they have a brand called Gears Crunch, right? And what's really cool about this cereal box is if you look at the back, it even has the Gears logo and it says, "You can win a tiny pillow." So I guess if you've ever wanted a tiny pillow, well, this is your sign to go out and buy as many Gears Crunches as you can possibly get your hands on. Let me know down in the comments if you would ever buy a Gears Crunch cereal box. But that is all the hidden details I have for you guys today. If you guys liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. And if you missed last week's video, you can see that on screen now, where standing in between two rocks and pressing a whole bunch of buttons unlocked New Game Plus and a certain Wild West shooter. But with all that being said, hope you guys have a good rest of y'all's day, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.